Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another blog and another video. So, as a lot of you here in Rochester all know, for a lot of school districts yesterday, the 2019-2020 school year all started yesterday for a lot of the school districts here in Rochester. For the ones that didn't start yesterday, for the rest of the school districts that didn't start yesterday here in Rochester, the 2019-2020 school year started today. For the rest of the school districts that didn't start yesterday, they started today. Um, and so, believe it or not, in just less than not even another 3.5 hours, the first NFL football game of the 29 of the 29 of the 20 of the 20 of the 2019 NFL football season will be coming on and starting at 8 o'clock tonight. Looks like the first game will be Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears. So that should be interesting. But anyway, so the fact that school just the fact that school the fact that the fact the fact the fact that school the fact that school the fact the fact the fact that school the fact that the fact that school the fact that school the fact that school the fact that school started yesterday for the 2019-2020 school year for a lot of school districts yesterday, and the rest that didn't start yesterday, it started today. Kind of thought about doing a brief little vlog and video on, so I mean, I'm sure some of you may remember, like, when back when you were all back when you were all, back when you're back when you're back when back when you're back when you were all, back when you're back when you were all, back when you were all a kid and stuff, like when you had first started school ever and stuff, like you know say the year that you had started kindergarten in first grade. Maybe a good bit of you may remember how challenging and how tough that probably was. I can tell you that how I definitely remember it being back when I was a kid, when I had first started kindergarten, you know, for almost any kid, for almost any kid that has started school for the first time ever, and their year of kindergarten and stuff, it's probably got to be a good bit on the scary side. And I'll tell you, I definitely remember that back when I was a kid, that definitely was that way for me, for sure. And then also, when I had started first grade and stuff, that year, the year after that, was definitely quite a real challenge and quite tough. You know, so, well, like I told you, my mom and stepdad this week went back to work for the 2019-2020 school year. Tuesday was their final meeting, final training, and practicing their 2019-2020 school year bus routes. And my mom had said last night that Skip had a couple students who it sounded like were for his later bus run, that you know that sound like are on part of his bus run this year, that I guess mostly were, I think, probably mostly kindergartners and stuff. And sounded like at first when they were saying goodbye to their mom and dad, they there there was definitely some tears going on, like, there was definitely a good bit of some crying going on with the with with the with the kids and stuff. It sounds like, which again is normal. It is normal for kindergartners, even first graders and stuff. For kids that are just starting going to school at all. And that definitely was that way for me back when I was a kid, back when I was in both kindergarten and first grade. You know, like, I'm definitely glad that I'm definitely past that stage for sure. Um, uh, and what I would like a good bit of you that all care that each care to watch this vlog and video would all like each of you to do is maybe leave it leave down in the comments section if you ever remember you know how kindergarten and first grade had been for you all folks back when you all were a kid. You know how tough and how challenging and even kind of how scary it may have been for you all folks back when you all were a kid a long time ago. Once again, I can tell you, back when I was a kid, when I had at first started year of kindergarten, I can, my mom and I were talking just a couple evenings ago over the phone, how she remembered back when I was a kid, the year that I had started kindergarten, walking me to the bus, and there was definitely a lot of tears going on, even quite a bit of crying going on in my end, a good bit, back when I was a kid, when I had started my year of kindergarten. Even the year after that, a year later, when I had started first grade and stuff. Um, you know, you know, it's always it's always a challenge for any kid when they first start when they first start school at all. Um, you know, knowing that you know time to get on the bus and gotta leave all those other people behind and stuff. But as time goes on, but for me, as the years went by, it got a good bit easier and easier as the years went by. Both both my first grade year and second grade year, I was in a situation where like the first day of school back when back when I was a kid back when I was a back when I was a kid, I remembered both my first grade year, the first day of school, both my first grade year and second grade year. Um, uh, it was a challenge. Um, uh, you know, um, uh, you know, getting on the bus the first day of school, both first grade year and second grade year, you know, then being a good bit of tears, mostly in my and crying a good bit of, mostly in my really all in my end, really. Um, you know, and just the thing of having a bunch of other kids and kids in your class that sometimes can be more challenging, and other kids that could have behavior issues, and and that can explode more over even some of the littlest situations that that at least a normal person my age and older wouldn't get into. But so yeah. But again, I'd like each of you that care to watch this vlog and video, if you wish, or are cool with it, to go down and leave down in the comments section if or how you remember back when you all were a kid, how you remembered both kindergarten and first grade being for you when you had first had started school back when you all were a kid. And uh, you know, and um, and then when my mom and I were talking over the phone the other night, couple evenings ago, a couple nights ago, another thing she was remembering back when I was a kid, mostly during elementary school and stuff, mostly during grammar school and elementary school and stuff, was like, say, like when we would have like our holiday recess, uh, uh, mid-year, February, February, February recess or winter recess, winter break, however you want to call it, and then finally spring break, spring recess, and then it would be the end of it, and then it would be time to go back. And when there would be times when if we got into like situations where that were kind of challenging at the end, then being like, I don't want to go back to school. And then of course, people going like, dude, all kids gotta go to school, can't last forever. Y'all know what I'm saying. Definitely well past that stage now. I just thought I'd do blog and video on on this on 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 this on on this on on this on 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 this on this on this on this right on this right here with you know kind of remembering how both kindergarten and first grade were back when I was a kid, when I had started school ever at all. Again, definitely past that stage in my end, but I know for those of you all out there who have kids that this year just started either both kindergarten or first grade, I'm sure a lot of you that have kids that started kindergarten, both kindergarten and first grade, just yesterday, if not today, probably dealt with a good bit of crying as it was time for them to get on the bus, and I can't imagine how scary it probably is. The first time them having to leave all those other people behind, and it's time to get used to the school reality and stuff. Um, but yeah, so um, and again, my stepdad was in that situation where, you know, and part of his later bus run for mostly the elementary school kids and stuff, he had at least a couple that were starting, I think, either kindergarten at least, or maybe one kindergarten, one first grade, that it was time for them to get on the bus and say goodbye to both their mom and dad. And there was quite a lot of crying and stuff in the kids' end and stuff, because of course it was quite scary to them. Um, but um, you know, it was definitely interesting. While my mom didn't have quite so much of that on the one of many special ed buses that she's at this point in time bus aid on and stuff, but I'm sure other years she has. You know, But anyway, once again, I'd like each of you that care to do so. Leave down in the comments section how you remember things being back when you were a kid with starting both kindergarten and first grade in school. I'd definitely like to hear your side and your story of how you remember that being back when you were all a kid. Knowing that for a lot of you, it's probably too long ago to remember to remember to remember to remember to re, to remember to remember it to remember and stuff. I'd just like to hear your story if you all have any way of thinking back. Just taking a quick look. It's right now we've got it nice and sunny pretty much here in Rochester. Actually, not a cloud in the sky. Not a cloud in the sky here in Rochester. So day 2 for a lot of school districts. I think the weather was quite nice for day 2 in a lot of school districts here in the Rochester area. Here in Rochester, our back lawn is not looking so brown anymore. Now that we're getting a good bit more, at least now we've had a couple of good days of rain this week. Got 2 more days of working with for this for this for this for this for this week and stuff. Tomorrow 10 to 2, Saturday, and then Saturday 9 to 1, and then finally that's it for this week. Next week right now just doing both Tuesday and Wednesday 10 to 5. And that's that for next week. I'll look at work schedule for the following week some point this weekend probably. Yep, again, not a cloud in the sky here in Rochester. Day, well, at least day or at least afternoon of almost nothing but sunshine here in Rochester. Alright, that's as far as I'm going to bring the vlog and the video. Again, the first NFL football game of the 2019 NFL football season will be coming on in I think less than 3 hours. And another thing too, on top of that, it sounds like this year is the 100th NFL football season. So that's a pretty big thing. That's a huge milestone. That's a huge milestone for the entire NFL, for the entire NFL and the entire NFL society. So we'll do just a brief vlog. We won't vlog or video a whole big chunk of the first game, the Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears game that's due to come on in less than 3 hours. We'll just vlog maybe just a short part of it, and we'll talk to you one more time in a little bit. Talk to you in a little bit.